So what does it mean to my big shot guests? Author and journalist Bill O'Reilly and the one and only Stephen A. Smith, host of the Stephen A. Smith Show. It's good to see you both, fellas. Let's remind people, this Sunday, Westbury, Long Island, if you're local, if you're New York, tri-state area, and you want to see 2 hours of unmitigated hostility and insights, I say come and be joined with the three Americans that will be there, Westbury, this Sunday, the 30th. They'll put up the little link on the bottom so you can get it. Bill, I start with you. When you look at this situation, what matters and what does not?
Well, it's a bad situation that can't happen again. And you're wrong when you say Trump doesn't care about it. He cares about it. If it happens again tomorrow, who's ever involved will be fired. But he's not going to throw people overboard for a mistake, a blunder. And it was. There's no doubt about it. But if you read The United States of Trump, the best book ever written on the president, you'll see that in his entire life, Donald Trump has never admitted a mistake. And his son, Don Jr., explained it to me this way. He sees an admission as a weakness, and he's not going to do it. But behind the scenes, I can tell you with certainty, this will not happen again, or someone will lose their job.
Stephen A., I love that Bill mentions him seeing an admission as a weakness as if it was a virtue, and it's exactly what we teach our kids not to be about. But how do you see this situation?
Well, I think what Bill said is absolutely on point. He's right when he says that probably behind the scenes, President Trump is going to have a problem and he's going to express that to, his subordinates, and it better not happen again or else heads are going to roll. I can believe that, but I still think it's worth articulating how problematic it is that he can't admit that that was the case now, especially when he defers to the opposite, getting into the same rhetoric that he was doing during an election while he was in the presidency last year before he unceremoniously departed in January of 2021 when he's talking about witch hunts and all of this other stuff. The fact of the matter is that whether it's Pete Hegseth, whether it's Walz, whether it's Tulsi Gabbard or somebody's responsible, somebody's culpable for what transpired in terms of the mistakes that have been highlighted. And there's absolutely positively nothing wrong with saying Walz.
Walz
right?
admitted it.
Okay.
Yeah, it was Walz.
I understand.
Walz's phone.
Okay, but what?
Walz didn't cover it, and Walz is embarrassed. And if it happens again, he's fired. Look, I can't remember a president coming out and admitting a mistake. Maybe you guys can think of somebody who did. Biden didn't admit any mistakes at all, nor did Obama. Okay, go.
So I'll give you one, and it was both on the same topic. So Biden and Obama both had to apologize for the launch of different software projects. For Obama, it was with the ACA when everything crashed, and he was in apology mode for 10 days. It's one more than you just asked for. Frame your question a little bit differently. I'll give you a different answer. But Biden had to do the same thing.
Right, it's like,
they also were not mendacity machines the way Trump is. We all tend to forget that. We go after him for lying more because he lies more.
Well, he does. That's true too. But here's the other part. Here's the other. Hold on, Bill. Here's the other part. Again, Bill, we get into the rhetoric because I'm thinking about the common vote out there. I'm not thinking about insiders such as yourself and Chris, who have far more knowledge than most American citizens about these matters. When you start preaching about witch hunts and the language is similar to what we've heard from you over the years, it shows nothing has changed. It shows you're never going to admit that you're wrong. That's fine when it comes to you personally, but you don't even want to admit when one of your subordinates are wrong. And then you want to lean on it being about politics and being about a witch hunt as opposed to really honing in on the mistakes that were made and ensuring that they happen again. If all you can do is say it's a witch hunt, it's a witch hunt, there's a witch hunt every time a mistake happens, then what are we really to deduce from anything that you have to say? No matter what happens, it's always going to be somebody else's fault, somebody else's problem.
I can assure you there will never, in the next 4 years, be a meeting held like that on the internet ever again. So look, but the point that I'm trying to make is that presidents very rarely, Johnson with the Vietnam War, Carter with the tremendous oil problems he had, Reagan didn't admit any mistakes whatsoever. The Iraq invasion went south. Bush the younger didn't say anything about it, that it was wrong. They don't do this because then it signals weakness. And Trump's got the other aspect to him where he's blinded by the hatred he has for the media. And with some justification. Never before has the American media been arrayed against one single politician. Even a George Wallace, even these kinds of people didn't get what Trump got. So he's going to pivot in there. He knows that his MAGA base hates the media too. It's a safe place, and that's where he's going to go. But the American people concerned about national security leaks, this is almost a good thing because now Trump is honed in on it. And all of that stuff is going to change.
He's honed in on it.
Do the stupid phones.
He's honed in on it. He didn't even know that the soldiers went missing. He's honed in. He's honed in on what?
Well,
he didn't even know that.
Totally
That had been
different
Biden, you would all said he was insane.
Totally different story.
Chris. But
I'm
not
saying,
just,
if you're going to be focused on what matters.
Bill, let me say this for a second. Chris, Bill, let me say this for a second. Chris, I'm going to push back on you with that statement right there about, all right, he's honed in, but he didn't even know soldiers was missing. Well, when you're a leader, you depend on the people that you put in place, and they're supposed to give you visibility. So I'm going to hold them accountable more so than him. But I will say this. He doesn't escape culpability when all he wants to do is come to their defense because he hates the media so much, the very people who may be incompetent, ill-equipped to handle the task that he's assigned for them. He's busy protecting them because he hates the other side so much more that he's not honed in on what their capabilities are and whether or not they're doing their job in pristine fashion.
Let me correct
That's problematic.
the record
I'll
here.
admit that. Okay.
Let me correct the record because I have the best sources in the White House of any reporter in the country. He's not protecting anybody. Believe me, all of them got the message, including J.D. Vance, all right? That if you do it again, you're done, you're history. But the president is not going to say that to the public. You want him to. CNN wants him to, but he's not going to do it. But to think that he's just blithely going along and this is okay is a fantasy. It's not true. He's angry about it. Why? Because it made him look bad. That's why.
I agree with that.
I totally get that point, Bill. But then you see, this is where you lose me because you're saying, okay, he's holding them accountable behind the scenes. Okay, but what about going out in public and saying it's a witch hunt and having that as your de facto position? If everything's a damn witch hunt,
it's
ultimately you are trying to escape accountability.
No, well, okay. He doesn't want to be held accountable for anything, but no politician does.
Okay.
And I'm not justifying, I'm just telling you how it works.
Yes, you are.
It's like a basketball coach. No, I'm not justifying. I'm explaining it. It's like a basketball coach.
You've never seen anybody abuse norms the way he does. But go ahead, make your analogy.
Fine.
Sorry.
Yeah. It's like a basketball coach whose star player shoots 3 for 17. Hello, St. John's. Okay?
Yeah.
Well, Pitino's not going to go out there and just throw him under the bus. He's not, all right? Because it destroys the player.
He just benched him for the key minutes of the game. See, now
he benched him.
That's a good one.
That was a good
Stephen A.
because he
Stephen
wanted to
A.
win
Finish
the
it.
You came to my lane.
Hold on, Stephen A. Finish it.
You came to my lane, Bill, for a reason. You left out, he didn't throw him under the bus in the post-game interview. All he did was bench him for the last pivotal minutes of the game. So the very dude that was the Big East player of the year, the very dude that was your star player, the very dude that helped resurrect your coaching career and elevated this program to heights unseen for years, got you there, got everybody talking about you again. When it got crunch time, you sat up there and said, he's struggling. We're going to go away from him. When nothing conventionally or otherwise in the history of coaching, that is something that you normally see. When you're big time, you're the go-to guy. No matter how much you're struggling.
He sat him down, but he didn't. He did, after the game, he didn't insult him. He didn't do that.
I'm saying that.
And that's what I mean.
That.
If you're a leader,
I'm saying he didn't have to.
You do it behind the scenes.
He benched him when it counted.
That's how it's going on.
That's
Oh,
what
he's trying to
Trump
win the
doesn't
game.
do. Trump doesn't bench his guys. He may say something to them in the locker room, but he tells everybody at the press conference that they were robbed, and he doesn't sit the guy down during the game when it counts. That's what we haven't seen yet. That's what Stephen was making of the analogy. With two of the other three Americans, Bill O'Reilly and Stephen A., I'll swing on him, Smith. Let me ask you this, Bill. When we look at, like, what's a problem for this administration, explain to me, and to Stephen also, he may understand it already, what is this play of we're going to get rid of district courts? Yeah, I'll respect the judge's orders, but now I'm going to invoke the second law that has nothing to do with the situation to defy an order. Well, what's the play here?
Well, they wanted to go to the Supreme Court. So the Trump administration is making it a big deal that lower judges, some are the trial judges that are selected by the left, are making injunctions for everybody across the country. So they want that to go to the Supreme Court for a ruling. There's also legislation introduced by Senator Hawley out of Missouri. That's not going to get anywhere, by the way. You can't legislate that. But Roberts will take the case, and that'll come pretty soon because, remember, the Supreme Court gets a very long summer vacation, and they're going to have to rule on it before then. And Donald Trump believes that he has the authority to deport anyone that he wants to who is in this country without proper credentials. And the Supreme Court's going to have to. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, I know. He made a mistake in doing it under color of authority that is a law that doesn't apply. And now he used a second law that doesn't apply to do it. And I'll tell you one thing that's not going to happen. You're not going to have the Supreme Court say, you know, you're right. A district court shouldn't be able to act on something that affects the whole country. That's exactly how it works. That's how the Republicans do it. That's how the Democrats do it. It's how everybody does it. Then you appeal. Stephen A., here's the question about it. This sell to the American people, this is about democracy, right? Trump was telling them that lawfare and it's all dirty. You think this is what he's trying to do, blow it up?
Yeah, pretty much so, because what he wants to do is to be the antithesis of anything that we've seen from the Democratic Party over the previous 4 years. He wants to show you that times indeed have changed. He's the man in the seat right now. He's running the shop, and whatever concerns you may have had because of illegal immigration is something that he's eradicating quick, fast, and in a hurry. That's why you've seen Tom Homan doing more interviews than practically anybody in his administration. I don't know of anybody who's been in front of the camera more than Tom Homan. There's a reason for that, because what you're doing is, certainly he's a no-nonsense kind of guy. We know how he committed this to that cause. I don't think anybody can deny that. And he's one of those individuals that has articulated the concerns we should have due to illegal immigration in this country. So everywhere he goes, I don't know a network I have not seen him on. Okay,
no, he's been around.
Because he can articulate that message, articulate that message for Trump. Trump uses that to his advantage, obviously, to justify everything that he wants to do by heightening the concerns of the American citizen and making folks feel endangered. And by the way, you see the footages of them folks in handcuffs from the gangs and what have you, and the way they're apprehended, etc. You see all of those different things. That's not an accident. It's not an accident at all.
So,
no,
what
because
is your
that's
prediction
the biggest
for
success that Trump? That's the biggest success the Trump administration has had. All right, border intrusions are down 94% from Biden. I mean, that's colossal.
Big win.
2.5 months.
Big win.
And today, Attorney General Bondi goes, hey, we just arrested the top MS-13 leader on the East Coast. Big dog and pony show. Okay, so this is a huge success. Of course, you're going to have Homan go out and trumpet it, and most Americans back it. Most of them back it,
100%.
according to a new Pew
It's an
poll.
80-20.
Now,
it's an 80-20.
There's one thing that Cuomo and Smith, you're neglecting. I understand that the Supreme Court is going to hear whether LeBron James can come to the show on Sunday and taunt Stephen A. Smith from the audience.
Stephen will swing on him. I heard him say it.
That is a very serious situation.
I heard him say it. He'll swing on it.
It is.
Stephen, is there any chance that you swing on Bill? Will you swing on Bill if he puts hands on you on Sunday?
No, no.
I would swing on anybody who put their hands on me. However, that is not the case. I mean, everything's fine. You know, everybody has their say. I had mine, and we move forward. We move on with life. It's just that simple. I'm good with it.
You think LeBron is going to come on Sunday? You think he's going to show up? That's what I hear.
So. I don't
He's going to be there.
I don't think so. He has other.
I
He has
left
other
those
obligations.
tickets for
Lakers
him.
are trying to win the championship.
Hey, thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen. And don't forget, click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.